To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Sean the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. It's been quiet in here, and I want to apologize for being a minute late. I had was such a wonderful conversation with my guest in the green room before the show started that it's going to be a great show. But I lost track of time, so my fault that I'm a minute late. But it's been sunny all morning, and right before the show starts, the biggest darkest cloud moves in over my house and thrusts me into darkness again. So I apologize for that. But an hour before the show, I was praying with some friends, and I lit 3 candles for 3 special individuals, which still happen to be burning on my table here. So thank God that they're there and they're helping with the lighting a little bit. Great show today, and I'll get to my guest as soon as I can. Let's first get to the prayer urn. Brian L. I know Brian, a policeman, and he's in Los Angeles, California. He would like me to offer a prayer up for all policemen. And I will do that, Brian. I'm glad you reached out to me. I'm glad I pulled your request today. Let me just go on the record and say that I love, love, love law enforcement. I'm a big support the blue guy, just throwing it out there. And I think right now, nationwide, they're getting a raw deal. And we need to get our heads out of our you know whats and stop with the defund the police and start supporting all our first responders, police officers, firemen, and all of them again, and make things right in the world again, in that world, because we need our police officers. All my life, I've known the most wonderful police officers, and they've all, I mean, I could see it. Maybe you couldn't see it, but I could see the wings on their backs, and they are angels walking among us. As in any walk of life, even in the clergy, there are some bad ones. Those will eventually, the light will be shown on them, and we will, you know, treat them accordingly. But for the most part, policemen are angels walking among us. Hands down, and it's right here because it happens to be one of my favorite saints. Hands down, the prayer I want to use today is prayer to Saint Jude, because he is the official patron saint of police officers. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Saint Jude, glorious apostle, faithful servant and friend of Jesus, the name of the traitor has caused you to be forgotten by many, but the true church invokes you universally as the patron saint of things despaired and despaired of. Pray for me, who am so miserable. Pray for me that finally I may receive the consolations and the succor of heaven in all my necessities, tribulations, and sufferings. Particularly, protect all the policemen and first responders out there, that I may bless God with the elect throughout eternity. Amen. Okay, let's check the ministry mailbag. Boom. Okay. Betty R. in Montana. Do I, Rev, do you need permission from a Catholic church to do exorcisms? That's not only a good question, that is a great question. And I've been asked that question a couple of other times this week. I'll try to make it as short as simple as I can. I was a baptized Catholic. I'm still a practicing Catholic, but I'm ordained through a Christian university. Not being a Catholic priest and not being attached to a diocese, no, I do not need permission to take authority over exorcisms. Having said that, and you can get my book and read about the story, I was born and created. I was created and born to be on this path. I was given authority by the Almighty when I was born to take authorities over exorcisms, and that's all I'm going to say. But that is a great question. Thank you so much for that. On that note, if there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. When you go there, remember my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work helping people with their paranormal issues, so I know times are tough. But if you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it, send in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and trust me, we will put it to good use. Don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the Ghost Store. A lot of cool things to purchase in there if you go for that kind of thing. But scroll a little further down and you'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every purchase of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you do something good with your purchase. You can get an autographed copy enclosed in a house blessing kit on the website or pick it up a little less expensive at Amazon. Scroll a little further down, you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I am a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach. If you're having some issues of a spiritual nature not attached to the paranormal and you'd like to speak to the Rev about that, there's a place on the website where you can not only make an appointment with me to speak with me about those issues, but if you are a true warrior for Christ and you long for the knowledge to know how to draw your line in the sand, circle the wagons, put up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling, my course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, is the course that you want to sign up for or enroll in through the Worldwide Society of Exorcists. You can enroll in the course there at the website. If you want to know more about the course, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, and you can read more about the course, or just call me and talk to me about the course. We'll figure out if it's the course for you. All my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. So, there you have it. All right, guys, without further ado, the reason why you all tuned in today. She's a friend. I love her. I respect her. I haven't chatted with her like this in a while. And you all know her. You all love her. And her resume goes on and on and on. And now she's a big TV star. So I'm surprised I even got her today. Anyway, welcome to the show, aka Ghost Granny, the one and only Adrienne Hart.
Hello.
Adrienne, you look so pretty today. How are you?
Wonderful. I got off work early. What more can you ask for?
Boom! And it's Friday, and you got the rest. Do you have the rest of the weekend off?
Yes.
Just so everybody knows, they're like, how can she be producing the show and on the show? Well, you could do that. You've done that before in the past, but your rock star live-in assistant Zach Clayton is producing the show today. Thank you, Zach, and he has taken over for you in a lot of ways because you're just so busy. And but thank you for showing up today. I couldn't have done any of this without you. So um, there's so much I want to ask you. I've got questions for you from friends and family and other people in our field. But I am going to get some of my questions out of the way first because it's my show. I can do what I want to do. How was your Christmas? How was your New Year's? And did you make any New Year's resolutions?
For the first year, I did not because it takes me about 2 days before I go, you know what? Life's short, not doing it. I'm going to do what I want. Christmas and New Year's was spent with his family, which was really nice because his family's, I'm closer to them than my parents. So it was nice.
And no resolutions.
No. Mm-mm.
Do you want to make now people in our bubble, in our immediate universe, know about Zach, you and Zach. Hi, Denny, and all of that stuff. Do you want to make any type of official announcement to all of those that may be going like, what's going on with her and Zach? Uh,
Well, we're getting married in July.
whoa! Is this breaking news?
Yeah.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh my gosh! Congratulations! It couldn't have happened to two nicer people. I love you both. That is wow.
Yeah.
You made my day. That is wonderful, wonderful news. I love it when people find. Listen, I am not a spring chicken. My
Neither am
wife
I.
is older than me, but still got 10 times my energy. How she works a full time job and I can barely handle a part time job. I don't know. Having said that, later in life, and uh, I hope you take this um, not in offense, but later in life, like you and Zach aren't, teenagers. When people find love, true love like that later in life, and I'm going to get emotional here. I love that because that's just a beautiful thing. So I don't know, as plans go on down the road, who knows if I can make it to Colorado and I'm there and I I would love to marry you too, but I'm not putting you on the spot here. Don't answer. If you guys happen to come to Vegas to get married, maybe I'll marry you.
Yeah.
Who knows? But regardless of what happens, that's phenomenal news. I'm so happy for you. I'd give you a big hug and a kiss if I was there. Give Zach an even bigger hug and a bigger kiss if I was there. But congratulations.
Yeah, we've known each other. Well, we went to school together when we were younger, and he was always ahead of me. So he's 3 years older than me. So, it was like the kid and had the crush on the older person, but we ended up reconnecting about a year ago. So timing was right.
Wonderful. And speaking of Zach, he's got that wonderful um, organization, Pay It Forward. And him and I are working on a new campaign right now for the Pay It Forward called Get My Hockey Jersey Back. So
Good luck.
I don't know how well that'll do, who wants to contribute to that, but we haven't finalized all the arrangements for that, but we're going to do that. Now, some people, like in promoting your appearance this week, I joked around and said it was a new fairy tale called Little Rev Riding Hood at Ghost Granny's. And just for the few people out there that might be thinking, oh, that's not a real fairy tale, that would make a very cool paranormal fairy tale, and maybe I will do a children's book with that title um, and put that out there one day. But I can even reenact a scene from it if you'd like, and it would go something like this. My granny, what big pickle toe puppets you have.
Oh, God.
Now, I've heard of
Ah,
full body apparitions. I've heard of EVPs. I've heard of intelligent haunts, um, residual haunts.
you're about to see all of them with Zach.
I have never heard of the paranormal term pickle toe puppets.
Yeah, me
Did you
either.
did you don't care to enlighten us on exactly what that is?
Oh, sure. I seem to have this man that has totally lost his mind. And
And we're talking about Zach.
oh yeah,
Okay.
and he thought it was a good idea. I don't know at one point if he was taking THC gummies. I don't know what he was doing, but he come up with this crap one day of he had a food fetish, and we were just now getting back to know each other, and I'm like, um, what? And he says, yeah, pickle toe puppets. I said, okay, you wear them, whatever. He said, no, that's gross, not me, you. No. And it was a joke for a long time. He put memes of pickles up, and when I
Pickle
came
toe,
down here, I
pickle
had
toe
not.
puppet. I hear pickle toe puppets and I hear fetish. I'm thinking he took pickles, maybe cut them in half, hollowed them out a little bit, put them on your toes, and was, well, you can guess the rest.
He would have, yes, but he had his mother and father that I had not seen
Oh my
in
gosh.
32 years. And when I seen him then, it was briefly. He was going to have them, it was all lined up. They were going to hold pickles when I walked in. Thank
Okay.
God they forgot.
Okay. Um,
Welcome to my life.
there you go. Well, and as we're telling this story, and I'm laughing, the sun comes out. So you've got the heavens are laughing too. So that's such
Yeah.
a great story. Um, okay, let's move on to paranormal stuff here. Uh, so Christmas was good. Santa brought you love,
Oh, yeah.
and Santa usually does, and that's all part of Christmas. Like I said, I can't even get over that. I can't wait to tell Sharon when she gets home. That's just great news. I'm so happy for you. Okay, here we go. We covered rumors. Yeah, we already covered that. Thank you, whoever sent in the questions about you being my producer. Were you still my producer? And that's the question. Yes, you are. And Zach helps you with that, and he's your assistant. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Apparently there is a paranormal Amber Alert for you in New Mexico. You moved to Colorado, and some people didn't know that. So explain to people the move and why the move and all of that good stuff.
There was no second thought about it. It was time to move, and his parents live here. They're up there in age. There's no way I would ask him to move where I was, and that's not where I'm from anyway. We're actually 5.5 hours to 6 hours from the town we grew up in anyway.
Oh, very cool.
And my daughter is 5 hours from us, and his son is, which I tell him he's not his son anymore. That's my son. Is in Japan right now. The other one lives an hour from us that we never see. Of course, kids that are close, they always go, "Oh well, I have all kinds of time to go see them, so it won't be this weekend." Well, and then
Very
my
cool.
my daughter used to live in New Mexico, right down the road from me. She moved same time I did to Oklahoma, so now we're all scattered.
Yeah, I think that is wonderful. I've visited New Mexico. I thought it was beautiful. I had an older sister that lived there, and my parents were there for a little while too. But then my parents moved back to Vegas. My sister, who was living there, moved back to California. And what I want to say about the parent thing is it's very admirable of you. And God bless you for doing that because the last 2 years of my father's life and the last year of my mother's life, I kind of shared hospice duties with my younger brother and taking care of my folks. And that was rough. If we hadn't have been here, I don't know
Yeah.
what would have happened. And, I know some people probably aren't going to take this the right way, but I was glad that they had already moved on to heaven before the pandemic
Yeah.
because that hit the hospice
Mhm.
field so brutally.
Yeah.
Could you imagine not being able to go and say goodbye to your
No.
elderly parents that are in a home like that?
Mm-mm.
They're dying of COVID and you can't even go say goodbye to them. And then, especially in New York, many of those, and a lot of people don't even know this, many of them were buried in mass graves. because you know we were just having the breakout and they didn't know what to do with the bodies, and so they had to bury them in mass graves. I don't know how I would have handled that. That would have just been brutal on my folks. So um, yeah, that was a tough time. So I commend you for doing that for Zach, and yeah, that's not an easy thing to do. Anybody out there having to take care of their elderly parents, I'll add, reach out to me. I'll add your name to the prayer list.
Yeah.
That's a rough thing. Okay, somebody wants to know here: have you visited the Stanley Hotel yet? And might
Mm-mm.
we be seeing in the future a joint things network, Paranormal United network, um, Ghost Tech joint uh, paranormal event in Colorado now that might include the Stanley or another haunted location in that area?
I've kind of put Stanley on the back burner because it's been overdone, way overdone. And they really don't like for you to set up equipment or actually investigate yourself. They want
Really?
to do ghost tours for you.
Oh,
And that gets too convoluted. You don't get evidence like you should. Now, if we were going to do a Paracon, something like that, um, yeah, we would probably do it there just because they have the room. We could all book rooms. Yeah, we would. Um, and as far as Ghost Tech or Pun, they're welcome to come anytime they want to. We don't, it's kind of an open thing. Here it is. If you want to
yeah.
show up, show up. Um, as far as things, that's what I run under here in Colorado. Like a sister. Um, it's actually been really good because we can collaborate. Anything, any evidence, anything we've done, I will, call the group, talk to them, we discuss it together because everybody has wonderful ideas. Um, Jeremy, Nick, Chrissy, Eileen, everybody, the Scots, both Scots. Um, it's, everybody has different ideas. We come together, we figure it out, and we go from there. It's just because us two are here doesn't mean, we're not still one huge team because we all do the cases together. And speaking of Scott, say a prayer for Scott.
Uh-oh.
He's going through some health issues.
I will add him to the hi Joey. I will add him. Father, how to get rid of negative effects of demons. Joey. That's a great question, Joey. As you were talking about that black cloud moved over again, and then I also got that message from Joey. Um, I will. Why don't you send me a private message after the show today and tell me a little bit about what's going on with. And who was that again that you mentioned?
It's Scott Wilson.
Scott. Let me know a little bit more about that. I'll add him to the prayer list and offer some special prayer up for him. For the quick question that came in about I don't try to convert anybody. All I can do is testify to the glory of God in my life and what He's done or she has done for me. Um, Plain and simple, for what it's worth, get good with God. That's how you get rid of demons. That's how you keep them away and get rid of them. Get good with God. Now, God may be different for everybody. It's different for my indigenous friends. And we joke about it all the time. Is the Great Father my God? Um, you know, if you believe in demons and you're being, either believe in them or you're being targeted by them, then you have to believe in the the opposite of that, a much higher vibrational power of love and light above us, watching over us. If there's all of that below us, so whatever that is to you, pray to that. And people say, "Well, how do you pray?" Just sit down. You don't even have to make the sign of the cross if you're not Catholic and you're uncomfortable doing that. Just find a place where you can get into some type of meditative state of mind and pray to this higher vibrational power of love and light. Throw it out to the cosmos that you're going to try to be the best version of yourself every day and start loving your fellow man, and you need help, and please watch over you and protect you from evil. And you'll notice a change, but you have to change also. You're being targeted for a reason. I'm not judging, but you're being targeted for a reason. So if you are being targeted. So that's all I have to say on it. And I will throw that to you, Adrienne, because you have seen your fair share of people in the paranormal community go through some pretty bad times because they've been at the wrong place at the wrong time, said and did the wrong thing, got attachments, or even went into places that were allegedly infested with malevolent entities and poked the bear, and it didn't end well for them.
Yeah.
Anything you want to tell us in your travels and experiences about this, the floor is yours.
Um, to this guy, I would definitely say we need to talk. You either talk to the rep, talk to me, talk to somebody, because it's not always. I mean, spirits can come across demonic. It doesn't mean they are. If it's demonic, you are certainly going to know it. It's not even a question. It's out to kill you and will soon. So yeah, getting help is the first step. Other than that, get right. Exactly. Because that's your only defense.
Joey, I'm glad you got back on here. You can reach out to me after the show or reach out to Adrienne after the show if there's a little bit more to that you want to talk about without airing you. I hate this term. I'm going to use it anyhow. Airing your dirty laundry uh, live. But we're here for you, buddy, if you need any help. But yeah, just get good with God. I try to tell people that all the time. I'm so amazed nowadays. So many people that reach out to me for help. They don't. They need help, and they don't know who to turn to. I mean, spiritually. So a lot of people, if you start trying to beat them over the head with the Bible and get your preach on, that can be a turnoff. So I try not to do that. But yeah,
A lot
just
of
get
times
good.
they won't reach out because we will ask questions, and those questions are important, and telling the right answer, the truth, is important, because if you don't, we can't help.
I turn a lot of people off just by I warn them ahead of time. Listen, you've already researched me, and that's why you've come to me, or you've heard about me, or I've been recommended to you. So I'm going to come at you from a very strong religious angle, and it's okay if that's not your thing. That's not your thing. Let me know, and I will try to find somebody more suited to help you. Because the worst thing is if you're not going to jump on board with with what I'm trying to convey to you and relay to you, and you're not going to help me help you, then it's just going to make things worse. So,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, what else do I want to talk to you about? So, what else does anybody want to ask you here? Uh, oh, somebody wants to have you talk about the temple event. Where have they been? Because you have talked about that a lot. How did that event go? The temple. I heard phenomenal things.
It was good. It wasn't as big as what we thought it would be, but it was good. And we got people there that actually wanted to help the temple, and they are now. It turned out real good so that they can keep going, which was what we wanted to begin with. That place is crazy. There's no doubt about it.
You say temple. Are we? Whenever I hear the term temple, I think Masonic lodge. There's a lot of Masonic temples around.
Mhm.
Is this one of those?
Yes, it's a Masonic temple. The lodges are like under that. And then there's temples from what I understand, they're on ley lines. That strategically they are on ley lines. So this one is.
Okay, this is going to be a two-part question for you. One, hi Denny. One is those are creepy places, and I'm not I'm not judging. I have friends who are Masons. I've got friends that are witches. We can all get along. If you come from love and light, we can all get along. I'm trying to not only bring more paranormal community together again and para unity, if you will. That's a hard thing to do. There's always has been, still is, and always will be drama in the paranormal community.
Yes.
But the temples, the Masonic lodges and the Masonic temples are crazy active. A lot of weird mojo funk going on there. I've also fantasized, and there's a gentleman here in town, Brian Purdy, that used to put on the Las Vegas Paracons for many years. I always wanted to do that too, but I saw what hard work they are. Even events on a little smaller scale, hard work. For all the people out there that think they might do that, talk a little bit about putting an event together, and then
Mm.
talk a little bit about the experiences at this. I used to always worry about, like, that's the reason why I don't investigate more with my wife, because we're both survivors of extreme demonic attacks, and I worry about pulling her back into that. So I work a lot of cases on my own now, which isn't advisable, but I do it. So talk about putting events together, and an event at a place like that where you have to worry about the people that come to your event. I know you, Adrian. You're a good person. You're a good soul, and it would break your heart to think you had people come to your event and they left and took something home with them.
Yeah. That didn't happen. Thank goodness it did not. But advice for anybody putting an event on, give it a year. Plan for over a year. Don't, none of this, oh, 3 months, let's do this. No, no, it doesn't work. Um, we were we were eager to help the temple, and we got ahead of ourselves. And but it turned out okay. Yeah, it was good. Um, I cannot say enough good things about Mustafa. He usually charges to go places. I mean, he's on Ghost Hunters. He showed up. He looked at the temple. He investigated. He did the world's largest ghost hunt with us. I was lucky enough to be on his team. He's amazing. And at the end, he looks at everybody and says, "Give my part to the temple." He said, "I'm
Wow.
not charging." He is now helping put on another event to help the temple. So, it did good. That's what we wanted, was to let them, make money. As far as before that, we investigated by ourselves as Ghost Tech. One of my first investigations, um, if this doesn't tell you anything,
Wow, that's creepy.
yes.
And you're actually carrying it around and not holding it with gloves on. You're a very brave person.
This,
I would never call you stupid. It would be stupid for me to handle something like that. And I've got my fair amount of haunted stuff here in the home, haunted objects that have been given to me. But you're a
well, she's
very
not
brave
haunted.
person. Oh, she's not?
No,
What is her story?
we don't know. She was found in the temple. I
Oh
do know she's
no.
an 1800s doll. This is all original.
Hi,
This is the
Jeremy.
way they used to make them. This is all original. All this, her dress is original. What they ended up doing was cutting the top of her head off and stuffing it with.
Looks like part of a crystal ball.
I think what it is those old things they used to put on electric poles that were like conductors. That's what I think it was. I'm not real sure, but it has like paper inside. It has a bone inside.
Whoa.
Um, it's been debated. It looks like a neck bone, but some say it's a fish bone. I'm not trying to find out.
I
Um,
would
she
I
has
would,
been
if
taken
I were
apart.
you, I
Um,
would don't take it apart. I think I'm
oh,
just
she
gonna
has
throw
been.
this out there. She's been taken apart.
Yeah, Steven took her apart. Not with me around.
He's
Mm-mm.
I won't comment on that. Wow.
Yeah, and she came back home in one piece, and she's staying that way.
Okay, let me say this to you. The feeling I get is that uh, there's something about that doll, and she enjoys being there.
Yeah, I've been told that a lot.
So yeah, uh, one might say that could be considered to be haunted, but you figure anything attached to that doll has been left. Now let's clear something else up here. Not all attachments are bad. Most of them are, but I do have objects here that I know whatever's attached to it isn't malevolent.
Right.
And they seem to feel like they've found a home being here. And that's the feeling I get from that doll. After having been abandoned,
Yeah.
after having been created to be this innocent little doll, a
Yeah.
plaything for a young child
Mm-hmm.
to love, and then to be perverted and used for something probably funky,
Yeah.
and then left and abandoned in this Masonic temple.
They thought they had cleaned out the craft room, and she was in the very back of a closet, and we were doing EVPs back there. And somebody said, "Look," and pulled her down. Well, we got the
Yeah.
flashlight out and we're looking. And I was like, ah, we put her right back where we found her. That was not our business. That was not, no. And of course, the people that run the temple were with us. And at one point, I got a call that said, "I'm throwing her away." I said, "You are not." And they said, "Yeah, she's going in the trash. Do you want her?" I said, "Yeah, send her to me." I've never had anything happen other than her fall a few times. And I can't say, was it the train tracks down here that, vibrated? I don't know. She's never done anything bad, but she is fun because I will take and put her on Zach's side of the bed. When he wakes up, that's what he sees because he doesn't like her.
Yeah, dolls. Yeah, I'm not a big doll person. I've got some. I was sent to this day. Um, holding the doll. Jeremy held the doll. Jeremy York. I hope you're doing better. Jeremy's still the only guy I know in this field that has walks around wearing a shirt with his face on it. So um,
Who walks around wearing it?
doesn't Jeremy have? Didn't you get Jeremy shirts with his face on them, or were
I
they
did.
pants?
I wear them. I
Or
wear them
you
all
wear
the
them,
time.
but
He
or he
won't.
had pants or something that had his face on
The biker shorts.
them. Okay. What do I want to tell you about dolls? Yeah, attachments. Not all are bad.
Mm-mm.
Most are, but not all are bad. But I got this doll sent to me. It had a return address of just being New Orleans, Louisiana, but no actual
Ooh.
number. That's just where it came from. Nobody on there that who it came from. It was addressed to me, and I open up this box, and it's a an authentic voodoo doll. Well, at that time, being naive, and I'm still naive in many ways, I thought this is so cool, and I displayed it in my home. And it wasn't until years later that I'm just thinking about all the severe bad luck that I've been going through over a long extended period of time, and I couldn't figure out why, who I might have wronged, who may have put a curse on me. I didn't feel any, you know, legitimate evil in the house attacking my
Mhm.
wife and I. I didn't know what was going on, and I just happened to glance up in my eyes. Something made me look at this voodoo doll on, on this shelf, and I went. So I immediately bound it. Uh, the when people find out that I've bound it, but it's in my garage, why is it still on my property? I had plans to take it out in the middle of the desert and bury it. But then I got my discernment started telling me the last thing you want is somebody accidentally digging this up and letting it out. So I left it here on the property, but I bound it and put it in a safe place in my garage, and that's where it sits. But maybe it was my imagination, but things turned around for me in such a positive way afterwards. And I talk to many people that reach out to me that collect antiques, and things innocently. They happen to be antique collectors. They're not into the paranormal, but that doesn't protect you. Not believing in the devil doesn't mean
Yeah.
he isn't real and that you're not more of a target.
Yeah.
So you just got to be careful with objects. But the vibe I get from you on that doll is that you're its new mama,
Yeah.
and she
She
loves you, and
sits
that's a great thing.
she sits right above my desk where I work 8.5 hours a day. No issues, no problems. I've been told she's demonic. I've been told she's terrible. She's not. There's nothing wrong with her. But I also collect antiques. I redid an antique dresser with a mirror that has all the black spots in it, from being that old. Nothing. And for people that say, oh, you put mirrors facing each other, it's a portal. Not unless you make it one. It's not. I used to have a mirror on all four sides of my bedroom. It wasn't intentional, but it was that way. Nothing. It's what you make it. And while Denny's on, I do want to say that man is a lot of the reason I know what I know. He's been my mentor, pretty much since I got in the field, and I will take him on all my investigations and go, okay, what do you get? What do I do? And he's been Denny, what? He's mentored me through almost everything, and
That's
he's
very
amazing.
cool. It's cool to have people, mentors. I have my fair share of them. It's very cool to have that in this field, especially, and pride. I work on every day. I say the litany of humility because that's my number one defense against the demonic is try to be as humble as I can. And if you can get rid of that in this field too, you go much further. And you never want to need help and be too prideful to ask for it,
Right.
or if you don't know something, how do I use this piece of equipment? How should I investigate this location? Yada yada yada. Anything. Just open up the lines of communications. Um, what do I want to ask you? Okay, we got about 15 minutes left. This is I've been dying to talk to you about this. Hopefully, you can just really just blow us out of the water with your story on this. Let me check real quick before anything else I want to ask you. This no. So here we go. You're now a big TV star. So I probably after the the new episode of Haunted Hospital airs with you in it, I'll probably never have interview with you again. You know, won't be able to afford you. You won't have the time to do it. It'll just be me and Zach. And he'll be telling me so much more about you behind your back than he does already, and on and on and on. So congratulations on that. I know that episode is going to rock. I know you rocked it. Talk to us, all the people that may, but not yet, or have, and had a different experience, or people that fantasize about, you know, I don't, I don't want to be the next whoever. But some people fantasize about doing that. Many people get into this business for the wrong field, and they think, you know, I might be a big TV star one day. And that's the wrong reason to get into this field. But talk to us about that experience for all the people that fantasize about what that might be like.
Don't do it. Don't.
Come on.
I'm really hoping that they do not air this episode. Seriously.
Oh no, don't say that.
You get up there, I don't care how confident you think you are, especially when your time slot is at 7 in the morning after you've flown all night. No. And you get in there and you don't know what to expect. If you've done it before, okay, you might be more prepared the next time. I was actually coached by somebody who had done this before. As a matter of fact, she has her two little haunted dolls on Zach, what is it? Put it up there. Um, on one of the TV shows.
A
She's
haunting?
awesome. She was there, and we happened to not be able to cross because I was going to the airport as she was coming in, but we talked the whole time. She's amazing. Um, the thing is, you get there, I don't care how confident you are, you're looking at lights all over the place. You're looking at people. People are putting microphones in your shirt. They're telling you, okay, move your arms so that the microphones, you can see if they're going to make noise. And I'm like, oh, this is serious. This isn't fun anymore. And you get there. Yeah, a haunting. Thank you. Thank you. She just had Gretchen and her other doll, her demonic doll. The Demon Dolls is what was the name of the show. Yes. She's an amazing woman. They actually don't make her look bad. They actually tell the true story about her, and she's awesome. But you get there, you look at these lights, they set you in a chair, there's no arms in the chair. And they start asking you questions because they've already heard your story. And they start, okay, tell me about this part of it. And you go blank. You're like, what? And you're stumbling over your words. You're thinking about, okay, this is what I'm looking like. This is what I'm sounding like on here. And it's bad. And then at the end, they do a good job. They do. But at the end, they're recapping. Okay, so say this line again. Trying to make you say it without stumbling over your words.
Or they may
And
know, we're just regular old folk. You
yeah,
know, they that's their job to not only make you look and sound as good as you can, but they want that because the better you are, the better the show is.
right.
And so yeah, I get that.
But they will take the show in a different direction than what you intended. We as paranormal investigators know, they were like, at one point, it really stuck out because he's like, why are you smiling when you say that? You're supposed to look scared. I'm like, because now I know what it is. It's not that big of a deal anymore. So, well, were you scared then? I was like, no, I was confused, but no. They need people who are scared. I wasn't. But, it turned out okay. If they took that
I
whole
also know
segment,
something about you. You're also very hard on yourself. You're a perfectionist. I know the episode is going to rock, and I expect to hear from you after it airs so we can talk about it and so I can let you know again how much it rocked. But I know it's going to be great. And I don't think it's the last for you. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm feeling and sensing that's not the end for you.
next time I'll be a little more prepared, maybe. But next time, I'm not going to let anybody lead the story into a different direction. It's going to be, this is the facts, and this is it. I don't know if this happened. I don't know if this would happen, but
Well,
this is the
tell
facts.
us we got about 10 minutes left. Tell us a little bit about the story. Is it have anything to do with the hospital?
I was working in a haunted hospital, well, a hospital, when I was pregnant with my youngest son. He is now 22. So, yeah, that was a long time ago. I worked there for 5 years. We had a lot of things happen. And the one thing that I really wanted to get to, we didn't. And, we see black shadows going into rooms. It was a known fact when you started working there, they'd say, yeah, keep watching for that. Of course, when you're not in the paranormal, you're like, yeah, whatever. And I did see it. But it's also, you don't know, are you, seeing something out of your peripheral vision that you don't really see? Is it, I would go into people in ICU that I didn't even know were dying. And they'd say, I was a cook. I wasn't a nurse. And they'd say, bring something for my husband or my wife. What husband or wife? They're sitting right there in the chair. Okay. I got to where I'd just go ahead and do it. And within 24 hours, they were gone. Well, we figured that out. Then there was this man dying of cancer, but he was talking just like you and I are. He would talk. And he said, before your son can be born, which I was 9 months, I was huge. He says, before your son can be born, I have to die. I'm like, no, you don't. He said, no, I do. And it's okay. He said, because we have to make room in the world. I'm like, no, you really don't. He said, it's okay. We left it alone. I went back. Well, that night I went into labor. And he heard warm blanket in, birthing one. It's a code. It doesn't really mean that. And he was like, here, take her my blanket. I know who it is. Take it to her. I don't need it. And they had to tell him, she's okay. It's just a code. And he was dead before my son was born, like within hours. And I was like, okay, maybe he did know. Because he was talking, he was up walking, everything.
They know.
Yeah, he knew. And he was like, it's okay. I'm okay with that. No, I'm not okay with this. And then later, we had a big scandal in the town, and 2 girls come up missing. And a lot of people on here might know. There was 2 girls in Veneta, Oklahoma that went missing. Actually, it was Welch, Oklahoma, where they went missing. The Bible girl, Lorraine Bible's daughter, and her best friend. The house, Lorraine Bible's daughter went to her best friend's house, spent the night. The girls, the car was there. The girls come up missing. The family was shot. They found them burned in the house with bullet holes in their head. They put posters all over the place about the girls. Still haven't found them. I'm too close to the situation to try to find them. But one of the nurses was going on Unsolved Mysteries, and she made a big deal about it. She was going. This guy in town that was supposedly crazy got a gun. And this is while they were doing checks for guns. He got a gun. He came in with 2 swords on his hips, dressed in fatigues, walked up to the nurse's station and shot her while she was talking to her daughter on the phone. Now, this is a small hospital. We all knew each other. We had to walk around her body and her brains all over the place while the FBI was investigating. We were on lockdown. We couldn't go home. But we all knew each other. And later we would see her still sitting there. She was the only one that wore white. The rest of them wore scrubs of all colors. She wore white. And we would see her as we walked by, still sitting in that chair. It missed the doctor by 2 inches and his little girl who was standing next to the computer with him while he was putting orders in, getting ready to go. It was a Saturday. So, that's the part I wanted to get to. And they turned it that all these bad things that were happening were on the janitor. The janitor was very creepy. The janitor could have had something to do with it. He was very scary. Did he for sure? I don't know. But that nurse is what we all remember. We had to walk around her dead body. So, that was what I had told him when we first started this. But it kind of went into a different direction. So I won't let that happen again.
Wow. That's awful. I'm sorry you had to experience that. Yeah, I have had my fair share of experiences going into assisted living facilities for the elderly myself, especially if I got the collar on and I walk in just to drop off some
Mm-hmm.
old magazines or newspapers on the the main table in the lounge for the when they get wheeled in there in their wheelchairs, they have something to read and stuff. If I go in, everybody wants to put their hands on you and have you pray over them and talk to them. And so I got to make sure I've got some time to, this is another
Right.
terrible phrase, to kill when I go in there. But yeah, I've had some. I remember when I was in my 20s. Now I'm 62 now, so that was a lifetime ago. But there was about a 10, 15-year span of time, whereas I was a very popular, believe it or not, um, street dancer and did a lot of videos and TV shows and stuff. And I was at an underground rave in East LA in the basement of an old abandoned uh, apartment complex of some sort. And I went out to get a breath. This is like 4 o'clock in the morning. I went out to get a breath of fresh air, sweating my butt off. It's the middle of summer. And I'm walking back and forth in this street. And I see this nurse standing in front of this hospital, and she tells me that I shouldn't be walking out there. Well, I'm white, hello, and I'm in like white fence area down
Mhm.
the heart of East LA. I probably shouldn't have been out there walking around the streets, but
Right.
she says this isn't a good area for you to be walking around. You should go back to your party. And I did, and it wasn't until after I was leaving and looked back to the hospital's closed down, and I found out many years later. I know I'm going to get the name wrong. It was either, I think it's called Linda Vista Hospital. I know it's closed down now. They've filmed a lot of horror movies and stuff there, and a lot of paranormal investigative shows have gone there and investigated. I think
Hmm.
it's called Linda Vista or Vista Linda. Anyway, that was the hospital. And I realized, well, that wasn't a living nurse that I spoke to that night. So, yeah, hospitals, I think, are really, really haunted.
They are.
They capture a lot of energy. Talk to a lot of nurses that won't go down to the basements in them. Talked to a lot of, even when my parents were in these places for a short period of time, and I would go in with my Ghost Be Gone shirt on or a Ghost Be Gone hat. I would have nurses come up to me and go, "You need to sneak in here about 2, 3, 4 in the morning. This place is weird."
Mhm.
So, oh my gosh, we're out of time. I love you. I wish I was there to give you a big hug and a kiss. Thank you for everything. I think you're one of the special people in my life, and I want to make sure you know that before we go. And did you have fun when you come back?
Of course.
I'm having you back. You and Rick both are coming back in May for another Return of Mod Squad episode. So that'll be fun.
It will.
I love you, Adrienne. Thank you for everything. You are one of the good people in this field. You contribute so much. Just continue being you. You're on my prayer list. Have a wonderful remainder of your evening and your weekend and your pickle toe puppet adventures and all that good stuff. Okay.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Good night. Oh, brothers and sisters, it doesn't get better than that. Listen, thank you to Things Network. Thank you to the Paranormal United Network. Thank you to Zach Clayton and Adrienne Hart, my producers. I will be here the next two shows. Be here. They're going to be St. Patrick's Day themed shows. And all I got to say is that walk softly and carry your shillelagh over the next couple of weeks. So don't miss those shows. And I wasn't planning on doing this, but because we had talked a little bit about people with issues and protecting themselves against the demonic, I'm going to leave us all with a St. Teresa's prayer. And that's her behind my left shoulder there, behind the big candle. She's always with us on the show. So here's a very good St. Teresa's prayer for everybody. May today there be peace within you. May you trust God that you are exactly where you are meant to be. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born in faith. May you use those gifts that you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. May you be content knowing you are a child of God. Let this presence settle in your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, dance, praise, and love. It is there for each and every one of us. Amen. Good night, dog. Good night, Jack. Good night, Danny. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all. I'll be seeing you all next week. Peace. Good night, everybody.